In January, Amazon also announced a healthcare venture with JPMorgan Chase and Berkshire Hathaway. Come February, the company acquired Doorbell startup Ring for roughly $1 billion. And now in March, Amazon is looking into providing customers with checking accounts and has announced it is expanding Whole Foods deliveries to Amazon Prime customers in more U.S. cities. So how do all these announcements fit into the complex Amazon operation? For more, I want to bring in our Bloomberg Tech senior executive editor, Brad Stone, who also wrote the book on Amazon. How does this all fit together under the umbrella of Amazon operations?
Everything you just mentioned. I mean, it's a company that one of its products is its culture, and the way that it decentralizes and empowers teams to go innovate and even requires them to innovate. And so you've got, tens of thousands of people working for Amazon around the world looking for growth and expansion opportunities, and it yields everything you just mentioned.
Not every new business, though, they have started has succeeded, right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, they spent 10 years trying to make grocery stores work. It didn't. That's the Amazon Fresh delivery service. It didn't work as well as they had hoped. Resulted in last year's blockbuster acquisition of Whole Foods. So
talk to us about the expanding Whole Foods delivery business and what that means.
I mean, there's so much they can do inside Whole Foods. They can bring Amazon Pay into the checkout. They want to do a loyalty club for Prime members. They could redesign the grocery store, make it friendlier to customers. But the easy stuff is delivering from those supermarkets and from the Whole Food supply chain right to people's homes. And that's what we're starting to see in a couple of cities, including here in San Francisco. My colleagues Olivia Zaleski and Ellen Hewitt wrote a story about it today about how poor Instacart, that had the delivery relationship with Whole Foods, is now getting shunted aside to the back hallway as the Amazon workers come in and start delivering groceries to people's homes.
Gene Munster, who's watched Amazon for a long time, now at Loop Ventures, predicted earlier that Amazon might buy Target next. Take a listen to what he had to say in January.
The future of retail is going to be a combination, and I would bet that investors would view this as Amazon. The takeaway would be Amazon's taking over the world, and that's a good thing.
Is Amazon taking over the world a good thing?
Oh, well, maybe for Amazon investors, obviously, the company's performance has been stellar. The stock price has multiplied by a factor of 4 just over the last 4 or 5 years. But no, I mean, obviously, the bigger it gets, the more kind of industries it enters, the more questions about its sort of market power arise. So maybe we could say great for customers, certainly, that Amazon kind of brings its long-term orientation, willingness to lose money, to pass on the benefits over to customers in the form of lower prices. Great for customers, but sort of destabilizing to a lot of other industries and raising some questions about market consolidation.
It hasn't been all great news for Amazon over the last year. Roy Price, the head of Amazon Studio, left. Amazon Studio is struggling to sort of get back on its feet. Also, a big high-profile departure today, Amazon Prime's Greg Greeley leaving for Airbnb. What do you make of that one?
Well, Greg Greeley, he was in my book. He was an old-timer. He started in the finance department, and it was the first guy. There was a product, probably people don't remember it, Super Saver Shipping, where for the first time, if people wanted to wait a few extra days, they could get their shipping for free. It cost Amazon a lot of money, but it cemented the loyalty of customers, and that was the beginning of the pathway that led to Prime, another product that he headed up more recently, where they were basically using their efficiencies in the supply chain to pass on benefits to customers. So, a senior member of the team, someone that was going to spend some more time in the Whole Foods division, but that bench is extremely deep. Actually, the bigger story is how little turnover they have in the upper ranks, and so I think Airbnb, who's brought him over to be president of their homes division, just has a really experienced executive who knows operations and knows marketplaces.
Speaking of, the cost of delivery, these things that they're offering to customers, don't come cheap, and 2-hour delivery is really expensive on the Amazon side. Is that at some point going to hurt them, when they start to raise prices that are more comparable with what they actually are?
Well, you can always look at it as a cost curve. And in the beginning, yeah, it probably costs a lot of money, particularly when the distribution of customers that are ordering from things like Prime now is small. But, this is the whole long-term thing that Jeff Bezos loves to talk about. They're willing to do that for 10 years. And as they get the concentration of customers in neighborhoods higher, then the cost per delivery comes down. And they're sort of uniquely situated to be able to do that and to kind of suffer the early bad economics for the longer-term payoff. So, yeah, it might look poor it might look bad now when you've got one truck making one delivery in one neighborhood, but fast forward in 5 years and suddenly that truck's full of stuff.
What do you make of Amazon buying that Ring doorbell company for $1 billion and their efforts, Amazon Key, to have this sort of concierge service, a delivery person who can come inside your door and drop off your packages? I mean, even they have house cleaning services that they're testing out.
Right. I wrote about this in our tech newsletter, Fully Charged, on Monday. I mean, in the short term, Amazon is up against Google and to some extent Apple in this kind of voice assistant home automation world. And it's a novelty now, and people love, quizzing Alexa and getting the weather. But in the future, it's got to be utility. So it's got to be opening your door, dimming your lights. And, Amazon works with third-party appliance makers, but the more they can bring in-house, probably the better experience it is. And then you're right, over the longer term, not only allowing the delivery guy to come in your door, but maybe monitoring your door from work, letting your housekeeper in, letting the plumber in, not having to wait at home for the cable guy, all sorts of things. I call it the true lock-in, when they control your doorway. It's pretty powerful.